Ngitshalile imizi yamanani aphansi.
I grow medicines and cosmetics.
I grow designer dresses.
Ngitshala izakhi ezinempilo.
I grow alternative to plastic and fossil fuels.
I grow sweetener.
Ngitshala upende kanye neglue.
We grow sustainable businesses.
Ngitshalela ukuthuthukisa imiphakathi yasemakhaya.
Ngitshale imisebenzi engapheli yemindeni ephilisa imindeni yasemakhaya.
I grow libraries full of books.
Ngitshale utshalo mali eNingizimu Afrika.
I grow kitchen cabinets and recyclable packaging.
Ngitshale izinsiza ezivuselelekayo zemvelo.
That is sustainably managed.
Captures carbon while it is growing.
And stores there until the day we throw it away.
I'm a South African forester.
I am a South African forester.
I'm a South African forester.
I'm a South African forester. We are part of a greener, more sustainable future.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Department of Forest and Wood Product Science. My name is Bruce Talbot, and I am currently the department chair. So it's very nice that you could all sacrifice an evening to join us here in the Western Cape. I see many of you are from the Western Cape. We've had a lot of miserable days. This was the first sunny evening we've had in a long time. So it's quite a sacrifice to be sitting indoors hearing about forest and wood science, so we appreciate that. This evening we're going to have a series of short presentations and some question and answer time. So the way it's actually going to work is we're going to have two of our professors, Prof. Brant Wessels and Prof. Ben du Toit, going to give you a bit of an introduction to the curriculum that we have, what our sort of two main programs are. We run two different programs in this department, and they're going to talk a little bit about jobs or career options, and then we're going to be introducing a few of our students. We have a few undergrad students and one or two postgrad students. They're going to say hello, and then we're going to go into a question and answers phase. So even before we get going, you're welcome to start writing questions in the chat, and we have someone monitoring those, and we'll try to answer those when there is an opportunity at the end of each presentation. I think would make the most sense. Before I hand over to Prof. Ben du Toit here, I think it is next, I just want to show on my screen, if I can actually get it to show the right screen, where we are both in the world, because not everyone is from the Western Cape. I see there are quite a few of you that are from outside of here, which is also always good. So you will be seeing my Google Maps here. Here we have Cape Town, and here we have Stellenbosch. There's a few hearts and things on that map, but don't worry about those. And just in Stellenbosch, for those that maybe know where Stellenbosch is and how it looks, you've got the Kutsenberg rugby fields and athletics and things here. And you have the main campus of the university in the middle here. And then you have our department behind the big engineering department. And let me just see if I can drag this little thing out here that you can actually get a street view of where we are. So this is actually us at the end of the road, this little building with the beautiful timber foyer, and we are actually sitting behind that window there right now as I speak. But what is maybe more interesting is this is where a lot of the parties happen in Stellenbosch, and this is at Academia, which is a private res. Quite a lot of noise comes out of there in the evening. So that's just looking down the street back towards Stellenbosch. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to show on the map, but I don't know how to go back into, is it like this, back into normal mode, out of street mode, was just where forestry is located in the, that's not going to work. So where forestry is located in the country. So we, the forest and wood products. So obviously wood products are related or coming from the forestry areas. So Stellenbosch traditionally had a very strong forestry background. That's why the university offering that is based here. And you've had plantations around in Jonkershoek, and we've had plantations, state-owned plantations around Paarl on both sides. We've had at Grabouw in the southern parts here. Actually all over the Western Cape. But today, much of our industry is located in the Southern Cape, so in the Tsitsikamma area here. Excuse all the dots and the hearts; those aren't romantic occurrences. Those are just places that I enjoyed being at, all the way down to Knysna and this area. And then you'll see up the eastern parts of the country. So that's obviously where there's sufficient rainfall to support plantation forestry. Up through KZN, very high density of plantations, and then through the Mpumalanga, this part of Mpumalanga, along Mbombela, Sabi, and right up to Zanin. So it's a very long band. We've just done a trip with our students all the way up through to at least to KZN, and you have basically a string of forestry all the way along there. But that's how it's located. So if you're wanting to go and have a career in Uppington, then you're going to have to choose something else. Okay, so that's for the future, but for right now, I think that firstly, congratulations to those of you that have actually applied. I know that we have both engineering students and some agri-sciences students here, so you are on the right track at least. So let's get into some of the details. So Ben, can I hand over to you to share your screen and your presentation of the curriculum?
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, students, thank you very much for the opportunity, or prospective students, shall I say, thanks very much for the opportunity to talk to you. But we're trying to say to those who've already chosen the degree BSc Forestry, whether you chose wood product science or forest science, congratulations for a good choice. For those of you who unfortunately made the wrong choice, you are welcome to still change, either next year or during the course of your first year. Let us quickly see what this holds for us in terms of, there we go, in terms of kind of people that we normally get here who should really consider studying forest science or wood product science. Most of our students love science, but they also want to be outdoors. They love nature. Many of them have an engineering aptitude, and they are green at heart. So they want to work with a fantastic renewable resource. I mean, wood is really the material of the future, sequestering lots of carbon, improving our climate change situation, actually reversing that, mitigating that. And so being part of forestry is really for people who are passionate about sustainable management of natural resources and our environment. So this is the kind of career prospects that you can have in the forest industry. And what is nice about our little department is that we've been around for a long time, but we're a small department where we really get to know all the students get to know all the academics. We are very close with our industry, so we often get guest lecturers here from the industry that are really hands-on. And so the students, after having been here for their 4 years of study, they really feel as if they're part of the industry, and they know the research community on first name terms, so this is really fantastic opportunity. And then, of course, important to recognize that there are two main study directions: forest science or wood product science. And yes, you do a little bit of cross-pollination. So the forest science people will do some wood product science subjects and vice versa. But importantly, you have to choose one of those two in the first year, because the first year is very different for those two directions of study. And it's not easy to switch between those two once you're in it. So important that you make the right choice there. If you need more guidance, of course, come and talk to us. What will you experience when you do this degree? You'll get a lot of practical exposure over and above your theoretical knowledge, and you'll work in a nice, vibrant community. And because there are so many opportunities and we've got only so many postgrads, there's really lots of opportunities for people to study at the postgrad level and obtain some kind of a specialization. But the one slide that I want to talk about most today is this one, to really unpack a little bit what you'll be doing with your degree during your studies when you do this degree. So let's look on the left-hand side here on forest science. In the first year, you'll spend most of your time on the main campus doing biology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, those basic foundational science subjects. Those are very important because you use them again later on in the more applied sense of the word when we do other modules that build on these basic science subjects. For the wood product science people, you spend most of your time in the Faculty of Engineering just across the road from us, and you're doing the foundational engineering subjects there. So that's why these two disciplines are very different in the first year. The only place where the students meet from both lines would be in this module called Introduction to Forests, Forestry and Wood Product Science. So important then that you choose the right one that's geared for your interests right from the get-go. In the second year, the forest science students will learn about natural forest ecosystems, also some man-made forests, and a lot of applied natural science disciplines. We're thinking here of geographic information systems, soil science, biometry, and the like. At the same time, the wood product science students will learn about material science and engineering subjects again. So you will do quite a lot of mathematics in your first 2 years. But we also have some things in common, as you can see here where it says both disciplines. We do a fantastic module, Levuyo and myself, on identification of tree species and wood anatomy. So first you learn about the tree and then you learn about its wood. And we also do quite a couple of modules where you scientifically measure trees and forests to determine the growth rate, the productivity, the standing volume, the carbon sequestration, etc., and estimate also the product yields from these forests. That is common to both disciplines. In the third year, we move on in the forest science curriculum to learn about how to engineer and maintain forest infrastructure. And we do quite a lot more study in the applied natural sciences. Again, soil science features here. And then also we have things like silviculture, forest engineering and such like, and forest measurements. Whereas the wood product science students will learn about composite wood products, production management in a manufacturing environment. The things that people have in common is how to establish and manage a healthy productive forest and how to predict current and future yields. Finally, we have in the fourth year very much a specialization, and then for 6 months there is the opportunity to do a so-called management plan if you're in forest science. So you do the specialization, first of all, in harvest operations, forest ecosystem, sustainable management, genetic tree improvement, and then the next 6 months will be your management plan, where you get assigned to a forest system, where you then implement everything that you've learned over the past 3.5 years and try to make the best possible management decisions with the knowledge that you've gained from all the previous disciplines. This is in forest science, and in wood product science, the students can choose a research topic. But first of all, they learn about managing industrial processing facilities, doing wood preservation, there's a module on bioenergy, and then again, the last 6 months, they have a research topic where they can develop something in the wood product science field. So that, in a nutshell, is then really what you're going to be doing at the curriculum level in both forest science and wood product science. And I think it's at this point where I have to hand over to Brant to talk a little bit about the career prospects and the opportunities going forward. Thanks very much.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see some prospective students. Hopefully meet you guys next year. Ben, I wonder if you can stop sharing your, or did you already?
Yes, I've just done that.
That's fine. Okay. I think I was supposed to quickly go through the curriculum of wood product science, but you've basically covered most of it. What I see there's a question, is the same modules as the first year engineering students. So I've just put together a subject list that we can have a quick look at that maybe, just to show you what it looked like. Can you see my screen? That's very busy, unfortunately. Okay, any case, so this is all the modules you will have, the wood product science students over the 4 years. So the bottom line is the first year, and then the second line from the bottom is year 2, and then year 3 and year 4. I'm not going to go through everything. The blue colored modules are from the engineering faculty. So in your first year, you can see you will take nearly only engineering modules: applied mathematics, computer programming, engineering chemistry, engineering drawings, engineering mathematics, another one, strength of materials, and so on. In your second year, there you will have 4 engineering modules. So those are mainly from industrial engineering. And then the brown colored modules are wood product science. And there you will see dendrology and wood anatomy, mechanics of wood products, and wood chemistry. Then in your third year, 3 engineering modules and also 3 forestry modules. And then the remaining ones are also from wood product science. And then in your final year, more engineering modules, industrial ergonomics, operations research, and the remaining modules will be wood product science. So it's just giving you an idea where your modules will come from. As you can see, you will more or less 50% of your degree in wood product science will be from engineering. And then the ones that I circled in red is the basic sciences and mathematics. Then those ones are applied sciences and technology. So you can see most of our modules after the first year are applied sciences, things that you can really apply in industry. It's not the basic sciences and technology. And then we've also got management sciences, because most of our students end up in some sort of management role. And then we've got, there's something very interesting, is we've got a lot of practical work during holiday. So the wood product science guys will, in their second year, they will, in the June holiday, they will spend a week here and do a wood practical workshop course, learning how to work with industrial wood machines. And then in the third year, they will learn about CNC machine programming, and you will both program it and make a product on the CNC machine. And the final year, there will be a practical introduction to wood finishing practices. Those all take place during the holidays. Okay, so that was just a little bit more about the wood product science. Then I saw in the chat there was somebody asking about bursaries. I'm not sure if, I think I can address that one as well now. What's the opportunities for bursaries in wood science while studying? So both wood product science and forestry have a lot of opportunities for bursaries. I think, I guess about 50% of all our students have bursaries. So after your first year, if you pass everything, most students who pass everything after their first year will get some sort of bursary. Can't guarantee that, but in the past, that's been sort of how it happened. Okay, so that was a little bit more about the curriculum in wood product science. Ben, I was wondering, are you going to talk a little bit about the career opportunities then in forestry, and then I follow up in wood product science?
Yes, why don't you keep going while you're at it, and then I'll just chip in when you're done with a few ideas on forestry.
Okay, so most students, when they start with us, or when they make the decision, they don't want to know all the stuff that I just told you, you know, what modules we're going to take and so on. They actually want to know what they're going to do after they study here. So I'm going to try to explain sort of a typical career for guys that followed wood product science. So most of our students, after they finish their studies, will start in most cases in a production facility. So somebody that or a company that make wood products. That could be like a sawmilling company or a furniture factory, or it can be in the chemical industries like Sappi and Mondi that make paper products. And usually they will start out by managing a small process, maybe manage 5 to 10 people somewhere in a production facility. After about 2 or 3 years, up to 5 years, they will move up into middle management positions. So that will typically be a production engineer, or it will be managing part of the factory. And after that, it depends on the person and what exactly will happen. In some cases, some of our students, when they really have a lot of potential as, on the management side, after 5 or 6 years, they could become a plant manager, which is quite a senior position. You will manage a budget of maybe 100 or 200 million rand and 100 or 200 people working or for you, who you will be responsible. That's pretty typical. There are other types of opportunities as well. So many of our students become a specialist in a specific subject field, and then they become a consultant in that. They become an expert, and they would be consulting to companies. A lot of students like to do entrepreneurial initiatives, so they can start their own business. It's actually an industry which is very it's easy to start your own business, the wood products industry, because you don't have huge capital costs. So it's not like a steel factory where you will need R1 billion to start something. You can easily, with 10 or 20 people, start a small wood products production facility. And then, of course, there's also in the bigger companies, number of our students will go into the research field, working on product development and process improvement in production facilities. Okay, and that's sort of the main fields where our students work. Ben, you want to do the forestry side?
Yes, I can perhaps just add that what is nice for me about forestry is the opportunities that it creates for students, because we are sitting in a situation where you do work with a natural environment, but we have large multinational companies in this country which really grow a very large and sustainable resource. And in other words, there's good funding to do all these things. So let's just say you end up thinking about a career in managing a forest operation. There's lots of opportunities because you will be able to, slot in with any of these big companies. And here, if I share my screen, you'll see that because our degrees are highly respected, and because we've got a lot of these big companies here, they are listed on this slide. Some of them are listed here. Many of them are multinational companies. They offer very unique opportunities. Students get work there and they can immediately get traction. They're surrounded by other highly skilled professionals. So you're never being thrown to the wolves. You're always in a very supportive environment, and there's money to do your job. There's also money for research. You know, so often do we see, if you're in a career where most of it is funded by the government or so, and if the government is not rising to the occasion, then you're really in a dead-end kind of story. But here in our forestry situation, we are so lucky that there are government positions, but there are also a very vibrant private industry that's not just South African, but also multinational. So the growth opportunities are immense, and really South Africa is on the map when it comes to innovations and breakthroughs in the forest science domain. So a lot of our work that we have done in terms of research in this country and implementation is well known the world over. If you ever want to work overseas, people really know where you come from and what you can do when you have a Stellenbosch degree, because you can go to any forestry environment overseas and they have heard of Stellenbosch University. So it's a degree with which you open many doors going into the big wide world if you feel like working overseas for some years. So, and then of course there are lots of postgraduate opportunities if you want to specialize further, again, in close collaboration with some of these companies that's on the board now. So there's lots of opportunities for our postgrads to get funded by these companies and to study something that is very applied to the needs of that company or several of these companies all at once, that they co-fund, for example, a project. So this is what I think is the main opportunities that are there for students leaving this university with a forest science degree. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Let me just see what's happening in the chats there. If there's anything else that we need to look at, I see Monica's listed the yearbook, which I presume all of you guys that are listening in this evening are aware of or have access to. So as she writes there, it's on page 43 of the yearbook. Maybe one or two things to add are that of course, we're in a green sector, which is very future secured. So as you guys have been born into climate change and know about all the impending doom and gloom, forestry and the green sector obviously offer a very strong alternative to our business as usual one. And just today I heard that in an EU organization together with EU-Africa cooperation are going to be sponsoring about 1,000 PhDs per year. That is to look at the energy and climate, energy and climate, and we're talking in the actual green sector. So there's a phenomenal amount of money that's going into that in the future. As we do, we are able to offer quite both technical and biological solutions to the whole climate change problem. Okay, let's not spend too much time there. So you've heard a little bit about the careers. So, and I think what I want to add to Ben's thing there is that, our forestry graduates, they end up working in a span that goes from HR and kind of ergonomics right through to management to you've got people working with satellite imagery data or drones. You've got people that are firefighting specialists, you've got people that are managers, you've got people that are researchers, as you said. So it's basically an entire career span out of one degree. So if there are no more issues, the opportunities in Cape Town and surrounds in the wood product sciences field. Bront, I think maybe let's just quickly take that question while we're on this topic, if you're still there and can activate your mic quite easily. So
yes, okay. So in as Bruce mentioned, most of the forestry areas are on the KwaZulu-Natal Eastern Seaboard and Mpumalanga. So in the Cape Town and surrounding area, we don't have primary forestry industries like sawmilling and so on, but we do have quite a number of wood products manufacturers. So furniture factories in the Cape area, there are a large number of fairly significant furniture factories, also wood products factories. I don't know if you know, for instance, the largest door and window manufacturer in South Africa, Swartland, is their factories are in Atlantis and Mariatsburg. So in the Western Cape, mostly secondary manufacturing facilities, and every year a number of our students work in this area. So it's not. I know Ben said, you can't work in Upington, and that's certainly true if you're in the forestry field, but actually if you're in the wood products field, you can work nearly everywhere. There's also now a lot of new, because it's quite a growing sector, there's a lot of new opportunities in, for instance, construction, building with wood. And of course, that's everywhere. So there are some areas in South Africa where you will see more of that, and Cape Town is certainly one of the areas where residential construction in wood is growing. So that's definitely one sector which will grow in the future. Also, Southern Cape, those areas you see a lot of growth in wood construction. So Western Cape, it's wood products, furniture and construction. Those will be the opportunities. And as I say, it's quite a fast growing sector at the moment in this area.
Brent, while you're there, can you just, that question from Christian de Wet again about the transition between engineering, could you just, I know you did mention, but can you just say how easy it is to switch between the two after first year again?
Okay, so after your first year, if you do wood product science and you want to switch to engineering, as you've seen on the list of modules I gave you, you would have finished nearly a complete engineering first year. You will be missing one or two modules from engineering, which you will have to catch up. But basically, you can go over, if you pass everything into second year engineering and just catching up one or two modules in your second year. If you do engineering on the other hand and you switch to wood product science, you've got only one module that you've got to catch up with on the wood product science side. So after the first year, it's very easy to switch between the two programs. Quite a number of our students finish their wood product science degree, and then they do a postgraduate degree in engineering, specifically industrial engineering. So they usually accept our students if they want to do a master's in engineering. They can go directly from BSc wood product science into a master's of engineering. So that's also another option.
Thanks, Brent. That's useful. Okay, I think that we've been keeping our best act to last. So what we're going to do now is to just introduce our student group, and then we're going to just do the questions and answers after that. So you guys are welcome to ask them directly some questions, or just have some general questions on their two topics. So on the forestry side, we have three people. That's Anathi Mthimkhulu, and we've got Juan Cornelissen, and we've got Bianca Mulder. And Bianca is a master's student, where the other two are undergrads. So Anathi, can we quickly start with you, and then Juan can be ready to switch across, and then Bianca.
Okay, Prof.
Okay, go ahead, Anathi.
After evening, everyone. My name is Anathi Mthimkhulu, and I'm from Western Cape in Khayelitsha. I'm doing my fourth and final year in forestry.
Okay, thanks, Anathi. Juan?
Kan almal my hoor?
Ja.
Okay, ek is Juan Cornelissen. Ek is van Woester in die Weskaap. Ek is besig met my BSc bosbou. Ek is veronderstel om laaste jaar te wees, maar ek het nog 'n paar vakke oorvolg nou.
That's good, John. We look forward to having you next year as well. Bianca?
Hi, everyone. I'm Bianca. I'm from Durbanville in the Western Cape originally, and I'm currently doing my master's in forestry, specifically in urban forestry.
Okay, good. Thanks, Bianca. And then on the wood product science side, I can't see if Saviwa is here with us, but Keenan is. So Keenan, maybe we start with you.
Hi, Prof. Hi, everyone. I'm Keenan Nift, and I was born and raised in Stellenbosch. I'm doing my PhD currently. This is my first year in wood science. Wow, what positive is about and enjoyable about my degree is that it teaches you to see trees differently and more than just trees. And when it's been cut down into wood, that you can turn this product into, or this piece of material into something, how far your imagination can stretch. The most challenging part is that how, as a student, what can I contribute to help my faculty or my field be more visible to the public? And my career choice will be to hopefully be one day a researcher and continue doing research for my field. Thank you.
Thanks, Keenan. Yeah, so Keenan's been with us for a while now because that's so the degree is 4 years, and then you do a master's, which takes 2 years on top of that. So that's 6 years, and now starting on the PhD. So into your 7th year here, Keenan. Good. So so we have covered the 2 undergrads in the forestry side. Saviwa, I'm still not seeing on the list here. If you're here, Saviwa, please put your hand up or just come on. And so, well, Keenan has done the entire undergrad thing in the wood science, so he also has good experience with that. But I think if all of you students maybe could turn on your cameras, and then we can, maybe I'll just, because we have a good bit of time, there are not a lot of questions coming through. But while we do that, maybe I can just ask you guys to turn on your cameras again, and then let me just start. Anati, have you something positive to say about your studies? Okay.
Okay. I mean, for me, what has been the most exciting thing is the fact that I see my professors every day.
Oh, that's nice. You say the right things. Okay.
It's the accessibility to our professors, like 24/7. They're in the department. We get to talk to them whenever we feel like we want to. If we have questions, they're there. It's not like maybe, let's say you're doing B.Ed. There's like 210 something students there, and it's one lecture. They don't get to engage with the lecture like directly. For us, it's easy because we are a family there. So yeah, it's exciting.
Oh, that's good, Anati. And what would you say is the most difficult subject that you had to get through in the forestry curriculum?
Second year, Prof. Ben's module, dendrology, wood anatomy. That one, yeah, that was the most challenging module.
Okay, let's jump across to wood science. Keenan, what would you say from the undergrad thing was the most difficult for you?
I would say the engineering statistics, specifically if you didn't focus on statistics in high school and operations research. But everything else, I would say it's enjoying. At the end of the day, it's still enjoying and fun. You learn a lot. Technical skills. Strategic thinking.
Yes, and how was it having the engineering subjects at engineering, like also because you like we heard from Anati with the very big groups there compared to coming to just to tell our audience that our groups are very small, obviously. So we take in about 50 students in first year, and then that's in both lines together, and then it decreases after that. So we end up with I don't know, some years about 12 or so in each group. Yeah, so a class could be like 12 to 20 students. But Keenan, what was your experience of having class in both places?
Oh, okay. So in the engineering faculty itself, it felt very robotic. The lectures were robotic, where ours are very like a family, like the girls are sit, the undergrads are sit. You can talk whenever, wherever with the lecturers. You can even watch it then, and they will give you feedback. So
that is true. So I think the flip side of that is that there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
So you can't actually hide from your lectures either, like you can in the big groups. John, do you want to say a few words about what you enjoyed, and then we'll go to Bianca? I'm just getting Siviwe across. He's in the wrong meeting.
Dat was allemaal so. Al die studente is hoe sal mens sê? Dis nie soos vreemdelinge. Dalk in jou eerste 2 jaar, ja, maar in die 3de, 4de jaar raak julle soos 'n groep vriende wat net alles saam doen, julle werk saam. Skryf selfs julle toetse saam as jy online toets het. Maar ja, julle raak net 'n groot klomp vriende, wat lekker is.
Nice. Bianca, do you have more to say?
Sure do. I'd like to just, everything that everyone said is very true. We're a very small faculty, so we're close-knit, and it's really helpful in class because as you ask a question, it leads to conversation, and it doesn't become a question, answer. It's more of a conversation, so you don't necessarily, you get taught, but it's in conversation, which is really nice because you learn a lot more, and you can ask questions that might not have come up in another way. So that's really, really helpful. And then I do agree, you become friends with your classmates really quickly as well. You go on trips together, you do practicals together, drive in a small bus together for quite a long time sometimes. So you kind of get forced to be friends, but it's a really positive thing and something I really enjoyed. And then, when it comes to the modules and the work, I think forest menstruation was quite a challenge, but a good challenge. I guess the practical lessons were my highlights, where you get to go out in the afternoon, go take a walk in some forests and physically get your hands dirty and it's like a good time. It's fun. Sometimes a bit of hard work, but all in all, it's a good experience.
Great, thanks, Bianca. And if you guys could just stay on, because Siviwe is also about to join us. But let me just answer or try to answer one or two of these questions that in the meantime, while people are coming up with other things. So changing from wood product science to engineering, like Monica writes, is not guaranteed. But there has to be space in the engineering program. But I think that you guys should all know that engineering is tough, and there is quite a big fallout. I believe it's as much as 50% in the first year. And I think that our wood scientists do 1 or 2 modules less than the engineers, so they're actually still in the system. We probably have a higher pass rate of wood scientists at the end of the first year, so they can they then get an offer to go back into engineering, which we are sad to see them go, but you can continue from there and then do extra modules to catch up. So I think that there's always a bit of space after the first year. We've had students actually also go across in the end of the second year. And then I see there's another question about possible to transfer from forestry to engineering. That is not possible. So that is completely different requirements to get in. And also your first year would be totally different. As you saw some of those presentations, the one is purely BSc with chemistry, physics, maths, biology, and those kind of subjects, where the others are engineering subjects. So so that is not, you would basically have to qualify for engineering, which is a higher entrance requirement. It's 70% in maths, whereas the BScs are at 60% in maths. And you would, of course, if you've done 1 year of university and you feel like starting from scratch, it would be possible to move across if your marks are, or if you get accepted there.
Perhaps I can just chip in a little bit there and say that, remember, if you take forest science, you are very compatible with the other agri-science modules. For example, you could go over to horticultural studies, or you could go over to soil science, or to viticulture or things like that. But of course, it's not so easy to go over to wood products, to engineering. Then it's much better to have wood product science as a foundation if you want to go to engineering. But with the forest science subjects, you share a lot in your first year with other agri-science students and other students doing a basic BSc as well. So there's a lot of potential movement there. And we've had, for example, several students who did a BSc, started a BSc in conservation ecology and then came to forestry or vice versa.
True. So thanks, Ben. Let me just see if there are any other questions here. Not too many. Siviwe, I think, has joined us. Siviwe, do you want to turn on your camera if you are in the room? That's a very unusual one, but anyway, we like it. So, Siviwe, you have a green stripe, but anyway, that's not so bad for the green sector. So do you want to maybe say a few words about yourself and your studies and where you came from and what you loved about wood science?
Okay, hello guys. My name is Siviwe Gilana. I am doing 4th year in BSc Forestry, Wood and Wood Product Science. I'm originally from Tata, but I grew up in Khayelitsha, came to Stellenbosch in 2021. I started with BEng Mechatronics in 1st year, and then I transitioned to wood science in 2nd year. It wasn't really a hassle because BSc Forestry in Wood Science 1st year is exactly the same as BEng 1st year. So I had taken all the modules that I needed. I just needed to add one extra module. And when I got to Wood Product Science, fell in love with the course and I never looked back. That's me.
Okay, thanks. It sounds very romantic. So that is the kind of student that we need. Yeah, so he is quite an enthusiastic wood scientist as well. Okay, so we're not getting any other real questions. We don't have a lot more to say. I'm going to ask Brunt Wessels, if you're still with us, Brunt, if you could just say something about the CETA bursaries, because there's been a bit of on and off chat about bursary options. Maybe that, because I know that's more sort of a block thing that is possible in the 1st year. Can you say something off the top of your head about that?
Yeah, okay. So as I mentioned before, I think in the past, about 50 or 60% of our students get some sort of bursary. We usually get, there's a government run organization, FBM CETA. They give us about 20 or more bursaries every year. How it works is if you're doing BSc Forest Science, Forestry and Natural Resource Science, then you've got a good chance, even if you have good school marks, you can apply and you've got a chance to get one of those bursaries. For Wood Product Science, we usually only give for 2nd years that specific bursary. Reason being that a lot of students or some students want to transfer to engineering. Many times students only finally make up their mind after the 1st year. And then there are also, SAPI and Mondi, and I think York. There's a couple of other companies that also give bursaries, SAFCOL. So for those bursaries, when you finish, you need to work for the company, usually for the same amount of time that they sponsored your bursary. The FBM CETA bursaries, you don't have to work back the bursary. Okay, did you want to have me discuss anything else, Bruce?
No, that is fine, I think, Brunt, unless there's something else you think worth saying.
Not much, no. Except I'm like Siviwe. I'm also in love with wood science, and I think it's really it's a career for the future. We see so many new opportunities opening up. I can just quickly say that everything that you can make from oil, and that's a lot of stuff on Earth, you know, all our plastics and a lot of chemicals and fuel, everything you can also make from trees. Trees, oil is of course just very, very old trees, so you can take out the same chemicals. So many of the companies, such as Sappi and Mondi, that used to be just pulp and paper companies, they start to go into a lot of other products, taking over some of the products that comes from the oil-based industries. And then on the other side is the construction industry, where concrete and steel is responsible for more than 10% of the Earth's greenhouse gas emissions. So there's a real move to get away from that. And the only alternative for building is actually wood. So we don't see that much in South Africa. It's starting to gain traction. You know, we seeing more buildings from wood, but overseas it's been really immense changes. So in Western Europe, for instance, 30 years ago, only 5% of houses were built with wood, and today in most of the Western European countries that number is over 30%, and it's growing. So we see a real transition in big sectors of the world from unsustainable materials to wood. So it's a really growing industry with a lot of potential. Okay, that's it, Bruce. I think these guys must go to bed now.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you, Brent. Yes, so guys, I think that basically brings us to the end of the presentation here from the Department of Forest and Wood Science. Hopefully you can get hold of us, you know where to get a hold of us if you have any questions. I think that through the contact that you've had when you're registering here, you can get any email addresses, or if there's anyone specific that you want to talk to. Also, if you want to get hold of one of the students that have said hello here this evening, if you want to hear the real truth about the studies when you're not, when they're not online and we're all listening, I'm sure that you can do that through Precious, who you've registered with for this evening. So yeah, let me just close off by saying thank you to our presenters here, Prof. Brent Wessels and Prof. Ben du Toit this evening. Thank you to all our students that have been willing to join here, and then also to the faculty, to Precious for arranging this for us, and to all of you guys that have been willing to sit in and listen. If you have, like I say, if you have more questions, just get in touch. That's not a problem at all. So we've had like around, I think last year we had over 400 applicants for for one of the programs here. We ended up with, I think, making offers to well, I actually don't know what the number is, but you end up with 50 students basically out of those in the end. So there's a lot that don't come through, and there's a lot of uncertainty. Even students that do get here in the end are unsure of whether they are wood science students or whether they are forestry students. So just remember, the wood science ones are the ones connected to engineering, and the forestry ones are the more on the biology side, connected to the rest of the agri-sciences faculty. So yeah, there you have in the chats there how to get hold of Precious or Monica. And if you do that, they will put you through to the right person here. So please don't hesitate. You're very free to send through any questions or looking for more information. And I'd also encourage you, there's been quite a lot of questions about bursaries. There are all sorts of things. There's a whole book that's published through the university on bursaries. There's not many that are specifically for forestry, but out in the bigger world, there are dozens of sort of generic bursaries that apply to anything within the sciences or engineering. So so make an effort and look for those as well. Our industry would typically come in once you've been here a year or two, so there are more options later on in the studies. Good. So with that, I think we're going to press the leave button. Guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.